You guys, welcome back to Winter Wolfstown. Winter Wolf here. I'm going to bring King Z up right now because we're going to talk about the biggest movie on the planet right now. Deadpool and Wolverine doing absolute gangbusters, dude. I think if I remember right, you predicted this. I think you predicted gangbusters when we were doing our 2024 summer hype list, and I was a little cold on it. I said I think the ship might have sailed. I was dead ass wrong on both what it actually did and my enjoyment of the movie. We're going to talk about that, not to bury the lead. I'm glad you got out to see it though. I didn't want to do like a big video without having somebody else to bounce stuff that I might have missed off of. Because dude, I thought for the 2 hours plus I was in there was so much to track that was going on in terms of the jokes, the references, the callbacks, the this, the that. I know I'm gonna forget to mention some of the stuff. So hopefully your enjoyment of it was also up here, and you're also gonna remember hopefully a bunch of the crap that I forgot. So hopefully. So
yeah.
I hope that hopefully we can cover all the bases here. I think because the story, I think, is just there to get these two guys on screen together, to get Reynolds and Jackman up there, because it's kind of simple, and I don't care. Like, it didn't need to be Two Towers. It didn't need to be Wrath of Khan. It just needed to be Deadpool and Wolverine, and it was. So I think there's a lot going on in the movie, but it was superficially on the story level, kind of thin, and just a mechanism to make it all work. But let's do like we usually do. Let me get your top down. Did you enjoy the film? Oh, yeah.
Well, first off, I do want to say that this won't be spoiler full.
Yeah, definitely. Right. We're gonna cut this up. What did you think?
Going into the movie, I heard a lot of hype on the internet. You know, I didn't want to get spoiled because there's probably too much going on. But I did hear there's a lot of hype going in, and I was hyped about going because I know what Ryan Reynolds brings. Like, this is a man who truly loves this character. And I think the homage at the end to both him making Deadpool as well as all of the Fox superhero movies was really tastefully done as well.
You're talking about the post-credit run, right? Like the reel at the end?
Yeah, the one during the
credits. It was over the credits, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. Because there was a scene after. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, to Green Day's Time of My Life.
Time of Your Life. Yeah.
But yeah, I thought this was a great summer blockbuster movie. I believe this is what a summer blockbuster movie needs to be. It's not for everybody. I'd start that off right. It's not for everybody. Do not bring your kids. I don't know how many times Deadpool has to warn you on social medias not to bring your kids. This is not a superhero movie.
Listen, I said it. I did a short video earlier. You guys can check it out. It's up now. It's spoiler free. It's just a quick, my thoughts on the film. We're going to get much deeper here. But I said the same exact thing. I said, dude, Ryan Reynolds put the suit on, got into character. And I think he made the joke in part one all those years ago. It's like, why are your kids here? You know? And in my theater, at my show, I think there was another kind of shout out to that. They did like the shut off your cell phone thing. Don't be a dick about your phone. And I thought they replayed that. Maybe I might be Mandela affecting that. But yeah, this isn't suitable for some adults, let alone your 8-year-old, just because you see a dude in a superhero suit. Like, no.
Yeah.
No. The stream of consciousness joke that comes out of that man's mouth ain't suitable for church or your kid.
Yeah, but this is no Shawshank Redemption. There's no big story here that's going to wow you. It's a fun, you're going to laugh your ass off during the movie. You're just trying to have a good time. And that's all it needed to be.
I agree with that. 147. That's the third time today I've used that number. That's weird. I got to look into that. I agree all the way through that. I'd seen some people weren't feeling the pacing a little bit. They were talking about that it was, again, we hear this a lot with movies now, that it's 15, 20 minutes too long. Dude, my ass laughed at everything they said, everything they did. I didn't check my watch. I didn't check my phone. I mean, not every joke was a laugh factory, but there was enough stuff to break the monotony of sitting in a movie theater, like legit, like every 6 to 8 minutes, think, fight joke. You know what I'm saying? There was something going on, and I thought all of that worked. So, because I saw some people saying they would have excised that middle section in the void. We'll talk about that, you know, like when we talk about the story. And I'm like, that was the mechanism that started up everything that happened in Act 2 and through Act 3 and into the finale. Like, you know, like you would have had to have changed everything in the movie if you didn't have that. You know, you needed the time stone or something to work it all the same way. So no, I'm cool with what they did.
What do you want to talk about it, or gonna wait for a third out flashback?
Well, I mean, what should we do? You know, what should we do? Because I feel like there's just so much like we could rip off and riff on their jokes like for an entire hour long thing because
Uh,
there's meta jokes, there's like MCU jokes. There was a pretty good. I'm surprised Reynolds snuck it in there, but there was like a divorce joke, which was
yeah,
hilarious. It was like on the. I mean,
yeah,
obviously he ran it by his buddy first, but
yeah.
like,
There was a few in there. There was filmmaking jokes like Death by
dude,
Day Player.
dude, I mean, the musical numbers were themselves jokes, which was like a rip
Yeah,
on epic superhero badass music, and in this you get NSYNC and Madonna and like
yeah,
Goo Goo Dolls, and the NSYNC intro, I was rolling, dude. I thought that
yeah,
was some of the funniest shit I'd ever seen because he's doing dance moves from their like original routine
yeah.
it's like during the credits opening battle.
Which
Like, this is
that
too
was
funny.
I will have to let everyone know that was a stunt double. Ryan Reynolds cannot dance. That was actually
Don't
a
care.
stunt double who
Don't
did the
care.
dancing.
Dude, it
So
was
just to
still
let you
funny. It
know,
was probably
Ryan
listen, it was
Reynolds
probably his
is a
idea.
little bit
It was
less hot.
dude, it was probably his idea though. That's all I'm saying. So I'll hand it that he outsourced the actual movement. Fine. Dude, I thought that was funny. And even within that one scene, there's so much stuff going on joke wise with like beating people with Logan's adamantium skeleton.
Yeah,
Hilarious. Him
throwing his
putting on
bones
at the
around.
actual wrist blades to claw people up. Funny. They had a really good sight joke in there. This had me absolutely rolling. It cuts into slow-mo and he's banging somebody with one of Wolverine's bones, but then his fist slides down it when it's about waist high on the guy he's beating. So it
Yeah,
looks like he's stroking. I'm like, dude, this is hysterical. But if your 7-year-old's in there, there's
no,
questions going to be asked on that drive home.
yeah.
It's weird. It was for grown-ups, dude, and I can appreciate that. I was digging all of that. So I mean, I don't know. Should we just do can you do like a 20-second just explain what the story was? Like A to B,
So
like the setup and like
the
where it all how it started.
So to understand the story, to understand a little bit about the TVA and where the whole multiverse belongs. So
Yep.
Deadpool lives on planet 10005 is
Mm,
his which was the Fox cinematic universe. Uh Earth 616 is the MCU universe, which also is one of the major Earths in the comic book world as well. So what happens is after the events of Loki 2, where Loki becomes at the end of the timeline and powers the timeline, the TVA has changed their policy and they are more of an observance type thing instead of coming in and pruning and trying to keep the sacred timeline. In this, you have Deadpool who wants to become more than he is, which is a joke at best.
yeah.
You could say is a joke. He wanted to, be. It starts off with him like interviewing to become an Avenger, and you have the callbacks
Great
that
scene.
you have Happy in there, and
Great
like the
scene.
jokes about him and like stuff going on. But then he doesn't get that. You see that he tries to have a normal life, but then you find out that his planet is dying in the timeline, which is pretty much symbolic that a cinematic universe is dying. And so he's trying to save his world because it's going to cease to exist, and he's
Explain
trying to
how
save
though.
his friends.
Explain what happened. What his timeline was collapsing because the
And he,
Logan in that world, it was an anchor being
yeah,
died in Logan.
each Earth in the timelines have an anchor being that keep it in existence. When that anchor being dies, a timeline dies. And Logan, which was the
Mm.
Logan from Logan, wow, that's kind of it's the Wolverine from
Dude,
Logan who
I'm still
died.
working on it in my head, dude.
He
For sure.
died, so they're putting because that was done by Fox, which was
Yep.
the Old Man Logan story where him and Charles die, and it's supposed to be the last Hugh Jackman Wolverine movie.
We'll be doing this till you're 90.
Till you're 90.
Dude,
But
so
then it's him fighting with the TVA, because there's one TVA guy who wants a promotion and he's trying to go back to the old
yeah,
ways of pruning timelines
pruning.
and to speed up the process. And he was going to save Deadpool because they deemed him special and they were going to put him in 616.
Right.
But
And
he'd rather
that's
try
the
to save
hero's
his
choice that he had to
friends.
do.
Yeah.
Right. He basically told him to stuff it. And then he thought that he could just pluck a different Logan from a different timeline and
save
place
his
him
world.
back in place back in his. And then, of course, he finds out that not only did he get the worst one, well, allegedly, the worst one in all of reality, in all of eventuality, he got the worst one. And the time guy's like, you brought the worst fucking one here. Like, did you think this would work? And when Paradox said that, I kind of sat back in my seat and I was like, yeah, why would that have worked? That should not have worked, but Deadpool was doing Deadpool stuff, so you let it slide. It's a Deadpool thing to do. He's like, nah, stuff it. I'm gonna go do my own thing, and then hilarity ensues. But I mean that's what I mean, dude. This movie, it's a simple setup, really, and the story really doesn't go much deeper than that. They get into some of the stuff.
It's very surface level story
with his girl. That's what I'm saying. Like that, they mentioned that, like he after the events of Deadpool 2. He gets a hold of Cable's time traveling thing and he undoes a lot of stuff from that movie. Like he gets the members that had died of X-Force back to life. He gets back to, he's living in his world with all of his friends and this, that, and the other thing. But somehow that's not enough for him.
Well, he also went and killed Ryan Reynolds, who took the Green Lantern job as well. And he killed the other Deadpool.
Bunch of other shit. Right. So he had his hands full. And that's why I'm like, you really didn't need to tie this to the TVA bullshit. Like, you already had a time travel device that he could have used. So
well, he said that he smashed it. And the reason why you have the TVA in there, because the TVA is the middle piece of the multiverse now.
Yeah, but I hate that. And everybody hates the multiverse now, though. I think that's tired. That has to go away.
But that was the whole point of this.
But the TVA has not gone away. They arrested Paradox. And like the TVA continues.
The TVA will never go away. It's part of the Marvel lore. It doesn't matter. It's part of the Marvel lore. Just because you hate someone doesn't mean it goes away.
Dude, Batman and Robin went away.
No, they didn't.
Up here.
But they didn't.
I get what you're saying. I'm just saying. I know. Dude, there's 14 million opportunity, 14 million parallel universes here. It went away in one of them. And that's the one I want to be in because it's so stupid. I hate it. I'm over the multiverse, dude.
We'll talk about more about that tomorrow. Loki. How can you say you hate the TVA and not even
shit on the Stones? Shit on the Stones. Nope, can't do that.
It didn't. It just said that
they had a drawer full of them. Stupid move, stupid writing move.
How is it a stupid writing move when they're outside of time and outside of
you can't
reality?
Have a drawer full of the most powerful artifacts in existence and treat them like paperweights. It's trash. That's a different video. We're here to talk about Deadpool and Wolverine, though. And it didn't suck.
You can't talk about Deadpool and Wolverine without talking about the TVA.
I'm just saying it sucked. Dude, I know I did, but they're like 5% of the movie, so fuck them. They're gone. We already did the TVA part. We're going to talk about them at the end again.
Technically, the Void
end of our video.
The TVA created the Void.
Hate the TVA, and they screwed with the Void too a little bit, but I'm not that mad about it because everything was funny. So they did, in a way, as I understand it, the Void exists at the end of timelines. It's not something that exists throughout.
No,
the way it was placed was explained to me a different way.
Yeah, it was explained to you wrong.
It was at the end of all. Was it explained wrong? Because it was explained to me that it was at the end of time, not outside, not like literally on the line. At the end, not a pocket away.
That's where Loki lives now. Is at the end of the timeline, who powers the multiverse and the timeline. So without Loki's sacrifice in Loki 2, there would be no timeline. Like all time would have ceased to exist.
Is Loki managing that from the Void, or is he somewhere else doing that?
He's somewhere else. He's at the end of time.
Maybe it's explained wrong to me. Fair enough.
So the Void is a separate entity that was created by the TVA where they sent stuff that was pruned out of the timeline because it had to go somewhere so they cannot destroy or create matter.
Okay, I'll accept your explanation because it's the closest one in front of my face. So in this, Deadpool's doing Deadpool stuff. He's on the quest to find a Logan. He finds a Logan. It's hilarious because this, I mentioned in my solo review, we have two very distinct sets of cameos here in a way. The first set, and as he's on the adventure getting into the fun and games, is he's running through multiple iterations of the Wolverine, and I thought they were all great. And because we're in spoilers, we're going to talk about them. And then the second set of cameos is very much why everybody paid to see this movie, to see who they brought back. Like all of those characters. So it's two different kinds of things. Some people apparently were hit or miss with each of these sets. I liked it all. I thought that seeing the different iterations was worth the price of admission, especially the first one, where they finally do him comic accurate. Deadpool walks into a bar to recruit the Logan. You got big old gruff Hugh Jackman Wolverine sitting at a bar. He's slamming whiskey and shit, and he gets his attention, and he's like, he said, "What's it to you, bub?" or whatever he says. But when he hops off the bar stool, he's like 5'2". Hysterical, dude. I almost peed myself. It was that funny, dude. The theater rolled, and I was like, fan service done right, because it was funny and authentic and it made sense, you know. And then they had some of the other cameos were dude, hilarious. And then but you know what it did? It proved that going that route from the first place, and people that were butthurt that they hired 6'2" Hugh Jackman for X-Men 40 years ago, they were wrong. Yeah. 5'2" Wolverine doesn't work in live action. It just doesn't. It would have been fucking stupid. And here we are. But what did you think of the other cameos? Like, talk about a couple of them. Which one was your favorite besides the shorty? Because that was just funny. That might not have been your favorite.
Oh, it's the one that they've hinted at a casting for the new X-Men movies, and this is the how do they put it? The Cavalrine. The Cavalrine.
Make it happen, Captain. That's all I'm saying.
And it was Henry Cavill as Wolverine. He was there super jacked, like Henry Cavill is super jacked.
Yoked out of his mind. Right? My God. Right? Now, if I remember right, did they save that cameo? Was that the last one?
It was it was the second to last one, because he got hit and he flew, and then he left and went to another one, and then he went to where he found his Wolverine.
Yeah, it was funny because the setup for that cameo is Deadpool makes it through Shorty Wolverine. He makes it through the Patch iteration. It's kind of like the James Bond iteration. He's playing poker in the white Bond jacket. He's in. I think it was the Apocalypse Now arc. Somebody was saying, where Logan was strapped up on the cross, but it was the X shape on the cover of like one of the comic issues. Was pretty cool. But then he uses the TVA device, and he gets into what do you got?
There was one more. They had the Western.
Dude, Wolverine. Was that the brown and was that the OG brown and yellow? Because that was in there too.
He was sitting in a rocking chair, kind of like he's on his old
and he looked up and shot him, right?
Yeah, shot him from underneath the poncho.
That was good. And so when he gets into the Cavill Wolverine one, he opens the TVA door, and he just gets into like a regular garage, and you just see a jack dude, white wife beater, working on a bike, and Deadpool's like, now this is more like it. And Cavill just gives him the look over the shoulder. Dude, this dude's trap is like 9 inches high, right? His shoulder size of a basketball. I don't know if they CGI'd this dude, but if Kevin Feige's not calling him to be Wolverine to give Jackman a break, I can't help these people anymore. You know, DCU blew it not getting him to be Superman. This dude is huge. He looks the part. Make it happen, please.
Oh no, it's the Cavalrine. That was it. Yeah, the Cavalrine.
Dude, make it happen. So he bumps into Yellow Suit Logan.
Yep.
Which is the last of the variations. And in his world, he went off mission. He was away from the mansion or something. He was on a bender. He was drinking himself stupid for reasons. They didn't really explain why he left. Maybe he was just sick of it. He's antisocial. We all know that. But the mansion gets raided, and like some of the kids get killed. I think the X-Men are also killed. They don't really explain how mutant hunters managed to take them all down. It wasn't Sentinels. They just said mutant hunters. Like they said humans came. I'm like, all right. I don't know how Charles didn't handle that, but whatever. Like you said, dude, this isn't Shawshank. I just needed to make enough narrative sense to just
which we don't find this out till later. You don't find this out in the bar scene.
No, this is the big moment at the end, near the end, setting up the showdown.
Yeah,
but so that's why he's the world's worst Wolverine, as we find out. So he reluctantly joins in because Deadpool promises him the TVA could probably fix your shit, but only if you help me. So they got all the seeds of conflict between.
Which that was even later as well.
Oh yeah, that's a big reveal, like going in Act 3 as well. That's what I mean. This movie is structurally sound, so I don't see how people are griping about that, because I've seen those complaints out there, and I'm like, it's thin, but it holds up.
Yeah, because it's like he gets that Wolverine. That Wolverine passes out drunk, which, if you did notice, that was the same bar from the very first X-Men movie with the same
Yep.
bartender.
Same. It was exactly the same.
Yeah.
I think they rebuilt, they reconstructed the set.
Yeah.
All the signs and everything were all the same. Yeah.
And then he passes out drunk, and then Deadpool brings him in. That's where Paradox, is like, why do you think this would work? And then he prunes Deadpool and he prunes Wolverine, sending them to the void. And then them two have to survive, which you get to your net's a really big cameo, which is why I have named this movie very specially and dear to my heart, Cameo the Movie. Because that's what this movie was from start to finish, cameo after cameo after cameo.
Let's take a quick break right there and just discuss the cameos without actually getting into cameos, just the concept, right? One of the comps that I made in that short video, again, please guys, go check that out, is that I think the cameos here are done right. The cameos in this movie facilitate the story of the movie. Like they all make sense. Like they bring people in that have a desire to reobtain relevance, to become real, to get back to a different timeline. And then they actually work with the leads of this film to make that all happen. Compared to something like...
You didn't catch on, did you?
What?
All the cameos are people from
Raw
Fox movies.
Everybody knows that.
That's why the Void was the trash of Fox, because Disney bought them for $1.7 trillion.
Wait to see where I'm going. Wait to see the comp. The comp that I was going to make is that, unlike Multiverse of Madness, where they just rolled out a fan wish casting and Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic, Photon, Black Bolt, Captain Britain, all that other shit, and then they literally just stand there as cannon fodder and die in 5 minutes. These characters in this movie actually had something to do. They were plot relevant beyond canon. I mean, they did actually stand in a little bit as cannon fodder, but they were given hero moments along the way. Like they were successful. None of them died. You know what I mean? I thought, we'll get to it. I thought the one guy got run through the back pretty bad. I thought he was cooked, but he was there waving at him as Deadpool and Wolverine made their escape. So I'm saying he's alive, and Kevin Feige should call him too, by the way. We know that's a sticking point for me, that particular movie that's taken them 7 years, 4 writers, 7 script rewrites. You know which one I'm talking about. You know which one.
Which they had a line in there about that.
Ooh, they sure do. So into the cameos. Let's just take the plunge. You talk about the first cameo. I'll let you have that one. That was a big one.
So
big one.
He was going to say the thing when the guy dropped. He was going to say the thing.
He was going to say the thing. That was so funny.
Go ahead and start it off.
So Wolverine and Deadpool are in the void. It's clearly a spoof on Furiosa. There was a joke about that too, I think, if I remember right.
Because once again,
it's Mad Max. Yeah, good.
Yeah, Mad Max themes and Thor being the bad guy in it, which apparently
and even some of the vehicles they drive in on, which one of them had the Fantastic car. They had the 4 on the front, if you notice that. But it looked like the thing they had the guy playing the guitar with the flamethrower at the end from Fury Road from 10 years ago. So I mean, it
motorcycle
was a spoof. Yeah, dude, total spoofage. So they bump into somebody who defends them up front, but he's got a hood up and he's all cloaked up, but he's got some tattered white bandages at the front. His knuckles are wrapped, right? And when they get to talk, and all of a sudden the hood goes back, and it's mother flipping Chris Evans. Deadpool loses his mind, right? Because he's starting to get the shrug. He's walking forward like they're gonna do the thing, and Deadpool, like you said, even says, he goes, "Oh my god, he's gonna say the thing." And instead of saying Avengers Assemble, he says,
he goes, Avengers, and then Evans goes like, flame on! And he turns out to be Johnny Storm.
Johnny effing Storm, Fantastic Four from 2006?
Which was another Fox movie.
Of course, that was the entire point. And he gets hilariously punked in this scene because he does the fly around thing, and he shoots fire at the guy that's trying to not arrest, but capture them. And of course, that's effing Pyro from the old X-Men movies, who just kind of absorbs his fire and drains out Johnny Storm, who then falls and breaks his neck in 6 places, doesn't die. Dude, I thought he was dead. I thought he was dead when he hit the platform. Dude, his neck was bent. It was weird, dude. It was broke, right?
So and then you had Sabretooth and Toad from the first
Angel
movie.
I think her name was Angel from it was from First Class. It was a very attractive, I think she was a Hispanic woman in the background with the long dark hair. I believe that was her. the one that turned on them in First Class, I think. I
Mm.
think so. She was there. And even actually before these cameos, Deadpool, when he's at the beginning of the movie, walks by a door that has all of the First Class with Charles McAvoy in a room, and the door closed. He's like, oh, why can't we get? Oh, was that Deadpool too?
That
Now
was
they're all
Deadpool
stuck in my
2.
head. Yeah, I see. I just watched it. Okay. Thought
He's
that
like,
might
why are you guys the only ones ever in this mansion?
ever here. Yeah, you're right. That was two. My bad. But that was still funny. So you're right, dude. They plucked all these people and brought them back. This kicks off one of the I mean, I thought all the fight scenes were good, incidentally. There's some back and forth stuff here that kind of pops off. They bring out kind of the big bad for the movie. I guess it is the big bad. Paradox isn't really the big bad. He's just a stooge that is power hungry. But the big bad in the movie is Cassandra Nova, who in this universe is Charles Xavier's unborn twin sister. So she's got the
No,
Charles
she was
look.
born because she was
I thought
pruned.
she was.
No, she was the twin sister from another universe that was
Oh, I
pruned.
thought they said she was unborn somewhere, and she was just and even unborn, she was thrown in the void. What? Cool. Okay, I'll accept the explanation. Works for me. Looks just like James McAvoy. I can't unsee it now. It's creepy, actually, how much she looks like him. But she's a psycho. She's an Omega level mutant because we hear her called that by Paradox in the TVA at the end. You brought an Omega level mutant here? Are you crazy? So she's powerful. They do this really creepy effect where she's reading minds. She has to actually touch you to get into your mind, but she sticks her fingers in the back of your skull and around your nasal cavity and through your eyes.
Yeah,
and it's dude, stop. I just grossed myself out doing it, and then you did it, and I relived how gross it was. It was disgusting, but it was awesome. All right, it was awesome watching that. So the way the void works is Cassandra Nova's little base, which is made out of thrown away Ant-Man, giant man, with his arms formed up like a protective wall, right? And they just drive in and out like Mad Max style. And her base, her like castle's like in his skull, like in the helmet, and the visor retracts up and down, which is kind of funny. All right. And she explains that, she rules the void. There's some kind of ancient being. What was his name?
Yeah.
The dragon thing.
Yeah,
Elias
which is
from
Loki, season 1,
okay.
which he's the one who destroys everything in the void. He destroys all the creatures that are vanished. They all try to hide from it.
So he's like Marvel's Langoliers, pretty much, that he's just eating up the past and just doing away with shit.
Yeah,
like
there's like once he catches you, there is no escape. You are down.
You're just like you're obliviated, like you're gone.
Yeah,
like that's a wrap.
Yeah.
Okay. So she's like, yeah, he lets me run game over here. I rule the void as long as I keep up the rent, which is basically I sacrifice crap I don't want. That way he can feed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So they make their escape. I'm not going to ruin the details of how they get out of there, but the crew escapes, the Wolverine and Deadpool, because Johnny Storm gets disgustingly, it's his fault. He said it, which the cutscene for that at the end was pretty funny. Like the rework of that was pretty hilarious. Wolverine and Deadpool escape that whole situation because they're told there's a resistance. Johnny Storm explained this to them previously. There's a resistance somewhere out in the void that's hiding. There's other people that are trying to get out. They got to go find them. We get a couple of really funny sequences with, I'm going to call him like Vidal Sassoon Deadpool with like the long hair, and he's all fluttery and butterfly-y and pretty boy, and there's some good jokes in there with
did you see who was billed in the credits to be Nice Pool?
No.
Gordon Reynolds, Ryan Reynolds' fake twin brother. Like he made up a fake twin brother. That wasn't
him?
No, it really is him. But he
he has a
fake.
Like they had a gag.
Yeah, he's had a fake twin brother his whole life, and he says that he is a twin, and his name is Gordon. And he doesn't really have a twin, but he got tested.
I don't know. That's funny. I love, dude, and that's Ryan Reynolds just being Ryan Reynolds, dude. The guy is hilarious, dude. He's like top to bottom, too funny. I like that they had a good joke here. I think it was at this part. Deadpool did one of his like his fourth wall break things. Real Deadpool, we call him Deadpool Prime. Yeah. He did a fourth wall break. And then Pretty Boy Deadpool goes, I can do that too. And he just looks at Deadpool.
That's later. Movie. That's at the end.
Is it later?
Yeah,
good joke either way.
Yeah, he called him He brought him the Van Wilder.
He called him Van Wilder. Yeah. And then the Pretty Boy one's like, I can do that too. And he looks at the screen and he goes, a proposal. It's like, dude, theater rolling, dude.
He's like, do you think that's what I do?
Dude, it was too funny. That's what I mean. Dude, there was like it was like a laugh a minute with this kind of stuff. So
So
like it
many good
worked.
jokes in there. It was like,
Yep.
wait for the extra to get out of the way.
Yeah,
Okay.
at the end with the fight at the end. That was good. That was good. So from the part they're at here, they work through a couple of low end jokes. They end up finding the resistance. They take a Honda Odyssey, which is hilarious because Deadpool's job in the real world when he was trying to find his new way was he was a used car salesman trying to sell somebody a Honda Odyssey, and he was
No,
basically
he was
saying his car
selling a
sucks.
Kia. He was selling a Kia, and he said it's much better than the Honda Odyssey.
Oh yeah,
And then he starts
that's right.
bashing the
And,
Honda Odyssey
yeah,
while he's there.
right. So they end up having to take Pretty Boy Deadpool's Honda Odyssey, which was hysterical. There's actually I thought it was a pretty good fight between him and Logan in the car, like an all out brawl in the car.
I made an educated wish.
A what? You made a what? And the Wolverine on point in this with the growling in this. It was good.
Yeah.
So they find the resistance, and this is where there were a lot. I don't know about your showing. People were fairly vocal in mine as each cameo came out. Even at the beginning, with the laughing and then the Cavill, people were like, "Oh my god!" Like, and then this part here, they get in to find the resistance. They find them, and sure as shit, like you said, it's all Fox throwback characters, like Elektra, Jennifer Garner looking great.
First.
Yep, and then she brings out
Blade.
She brings out Gambit, right? No, I thought Gambit
Blade
was next.
No, Blade was next.
Oh, you just saw it, so I'll defer to you. So Blade got the most oh dams.
Yeah.
People went nuts. And I was like, and this is where I was looking for Kevin Feige on my phone. I'm like, bro, he suited up. He looked good. He's got the attitude. He fought well at the end. Make this happen.
So one of the funny things is that one of the guys I work with, he went to go see it, and his wife didn't know that. Like, who's the black guy who came out? I don't understand it. And they're like, that's Blade.
The guy that you can thank for the MCU actually being a thing because the OG Blade movie proved superhero films taken seriously were financially viable.
Yeah.
Just that guy.
Him and Stephen Doff is a absolutely just bomb.
Oh, Frost as Deacon Frost? Hell yeah.
Frost. One of the best MCU villains of all time.
Dude, Frost chopped off somebody's fangs and threw them down the table at the other heads of vampire houses. That was awesome. CGI's a little dated with the blood god at the end, but still.
Yeah.
30 years ago, who cares?
It was
30 years ago. So Blade does his pimp thing, and then they bring out fucking Gambit. And
the movie that never happened.
And dude, based on the ending of this movie, they could make that movie today and people would go.
But all the jokes about it were funny. Perfect.
Dude, let's talk about the first joke.
His really bad Cajun accent.
Dude, but it was hilarious. He says like 5 things, and Deadpool's like, I don't understand a fucking word you just said. And then progressively, it became clearer. Like they made the joke, it worked. I'm like, that's great.
It's like, wait a minute. Who's your dialect coach?
Dude, that was awesome. That's what I'm saying.
Because we can't understand a word you're saying.
Dude, on fucking point, right? So they get Gambit out there, and Wolverine is drinking a bottle of bourbon or whiskey or whatever it was, and Gambit's like, I'd appreciate you not touching my stuff. And Wolverine's like, fuck him. He just keeps drinking anyway. And then Deadpool cuts and he's like, all right, so what are you doing? He goes, I'm the guy that does the cards and makes them go boom. And he throws the card at the fucking bourbon bottle and explodes it. But then Wolverine just picks up another bottle and goes back to drinking. Dude, I was rolling, dude. It was too funny. It was too good.
Yeah. And then the last one was X-23.
And this is great because here's a comparison. So is it Daphne Rosen? I think is her name, is the actress's name.
It's
Daphne something or other, right? So she's X-23 all grown up because she was in the Logan movie. It's the same actor, right?
Mm-hmm.
This chick was just in The Acolyte. She was Jeckie.
Yeah,
I knew that. I wasn't sure if you knew that. I wasn't sure if you know. And the difference in how proper writing and direction actually carries somebody in one of these things could not have been more apparent because she didn't have a lot to do here, but I thought she still carried. She was still emotionally appropriate in all the different places, like when she's talking to this universe's Logan and explaining, her connection to the anchor being Logan that passed from her world, versus, and then like in the fight scene, she did the whole growling, screaming, feral X-23 thing. That's to be expected. But I thought she was great. People seemed to like respond to her in theater as well. People were like, oh, Like, I think a lot of people were wise with this. I know we were talking the other day and you were like, dude, I'm not on any of my Facebook pages. I'm trying to avoid hype videos. I'm trying to miss this, that, and the other thing. I think a lot of people were on board with that approach, dude. I think people saw that Super Bowl ad, like the announcement, and they went in as blind as they could go, knowing that about half of this movie's enjoyment was going to be getting whacked with fan castings and cameos. And I think people really enjoyed it. I didn't see a lot of spoilers out there. Maybe I just missed them, thankfully.
Yeah. The damn it joke just had me rolling too, because it was like they're talking about, yeah, we get to save people again. You know, like, I just want the chance to save people because this movie was never made. He was like, and we get to be heroes or be the hero that I could have been.
It never was, dude. Oh, dude, it was too fun. And that's, dude, they took shots at like everybody, like Electra's joke. So she goes, you know, everybody in my, she said something, it set up a joke. And then Deadpool was like, yeah, I'm real sorry about Daredevil. And she was like, nah.
That's okay.
And I'm like, that's how everybody feels about Ben Affleck as Daredevil. Like, nobody
well,
really
it's also her ex-husband.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. Like, so there was like levels upon levels of these kind of jokes and cuts, which I thought was great. You know, there was one where, and that's the Blade joke was Deadpool looks at Blade and he goes, yeah, he doesn't really like me. Because of course, Ryan Reynolds was Hannibal in Blade 3. In Blade Trinity. So
I thought you were retired because he retired at the end of the head.
Right. I'm like, dude, there's too much. There's too much going on. Dude, I really wanted to go back a second time before we did this. I just couldn't fit it, you know, because I know we're missing jokes. But anyway, that's the big cameo clutch. Deadpool makes a speech. He forms them into a team. Together we can figure out a way to defeat Cassandra Nova, even though she's Omega level. They came up with a thin ass plan, which is to go, and we missed this one earlier. They're gonna defeat the Juggernaut, who's the Fox
which is actually played by a
Yep.
different actor in this one.
Yep,
not the original actor.
But same suit, same helmet. Like it was,
and by my opinion, the worst Juggernaut that they've ever done.
This one?
Yes, I do not like the
that's
been Juggernaut because, well, one, they have the Juggernaut wrong. The Juggernaut's not a mutant. The Juggernaut's power is all magical. He finds the crystal in the helmet, and his power comes from the helmet. And then it's also Charles Xavier's half brother.
Yep.
Or
and I don't even think they mentioned that part.
Yeah.
Stepbrother. It wasn't by blood.
Yeah.
So he's the MacGuffin that they have to basically decapitate him to get the helmet, because what they want to do is dunk it on Cassandra's head to shut down her Omega level psychic shit. Which
that was a great line too earlier with Paradox when he's like, this is the Time Reaper. It destroys a timeline faster. It was like, what in the MacGuffin is that?
Yeah, dude. Yep. That's what I mean, dude. They loaded so much into. If you gave me an hour to prepare for this, to write down everything I liked, I would not have remembered that until you said it, because it's just one of the things Deadpool says, and it's probably some shit that Reynolds improv'd and had to stick with because of the strikes. And the first time he said it, it was script committed. You know, dude, it was too. All of it's too funny. Right?
It was a great. It was a good movie. Like I said, it's not gonna. It's not a reset moment for MCU either.
Nope.
It's not.
We'll talk about that for sure. We'll get to that for sure. I have some thoughts there. Let's wrap up the movie and then we'll do the analysis, the big stuff, right? So the Resistance, they basically just drive into the base. It's kind of funny. They have Blade fire a rocket launcher
that was from the Punisher who's died.
Yep, and he said it. Yeah, he said it because they had mentioned some of the other folks that are out there. Cassandra Nova had mentioned that she had later on that she had taken a sling ring off of some jackass with an Infinity Stone. So obviously there was a Doctor Strange that was out there. They mentioned a few people like that. So they rocket Ant-Man's hands open into the base. They drive in. For some reason, the bad guys don't start shooting. Whatever, what am I going to do about it, right? They all get out of the car and they're all like nimbly-pimbly waiting. And then, of course, the hatch opens up, and because we skipped over this scene, Logan steps out. Like Wolverine steps out in the yellow suit Wolverine who it's been. He actually showed up for the team because initially he was like, I'm not going. This is suicide. This is stupid. And then X-23 had the little heart-to-heart by the campfire.
Which you have the Hugh Jackman like serious moment. I think there's one serious moment of the movie.
It was this, and I think when Cassandra got into his head.
Yeah, the Dark Night of the Soul.
Yeah, and that was very much the moment. he lays it all out there that he let everybody down and so he's the worst version of himself ever. And then she basically says, so was my Logan until
No,
he
he
wasn't.
goes, I'm not the he goes,
Oh yeah,
I'm not the right person for this. He goes, you were never the right
right.
person until you were.
Until you were. And I'm like, okay, all right, X-23. I see he's gonna show up. So they show up, they do all kinds of crazy gangster shit that does justice and dignity by all of the throwaway characters. Electra rough people up, Blade rough people up. I think Gambit got it the best. That staff in those cards were nasty.
Exactly.
Make
Everything
this movie happen
from Gambit.
Dude, the energy, the energy staff in the cards just flicking them. You're just destroying people. I'm like, dude, make this happen. I want that movie. I want it next summer. Make it happen. It's not like Channing Tatum's 70 and out of shape. The dude could do a Magic Mike tomorrow, I'm sure. And he'd put asses in seats for being jacked. Right? So Deadpool and Wolverine do their thing. Everybody's holding off the others. At one point, it looks like the others are kind of getting it. They're getting overwhelmed and beat down. Blade gets like a spear through the chest or a stake through the chest. And they're like, okay, so we actually are going to kill some of these fuckers. All right, whatever. But the one thing led to another. They got the helmet on Cassandra Nova after she invades both. I think she invades Wolverine's mind. We get the explanation of what real, like the full breadth of what happened. Right. Yeah. And then Deadpool's kind of knocked out of it, but he gets the helmet because X-23 runs, jumps, and does some throwing shit, and it kind of lands and rolls, and it's going to be within grasp. And at the best possible moment, they shut her down.
Yeah.
And you think everything's good. But everything's not good, King Z. Not at all. Because
Pyro was going to turn on her, so he shoots her in the stomach. But to get out of there, they need her, so they take the helmet off so she can heal herself. And then she shows them the ring, but they also make it like where they have to kind of sacrifice themselves to go because of the pink monsters coming in again. And they have to make this huge jump, which of course they make it.
And they made a joke there too. Did you catch the joke? Because she gives them a sling ring and she opens the portal. Right. And what is Deadpool? He says, oh my God, Avengers rings or Avengers portals or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, he's totally fanboying for this shit. But the portal opens. And of course, it opens in the smoke monster's throat. Basically, as it's coming in, they have to jump into it. And they do the slow-mo thing. And it's pretty cool. And I think, is this where when they pop out and they do the landing, is that when Deadpool says he makes a joke about a hero landing in this one too, doesn't he? Or is that the bus at the end?
No, he said that about Johnny Storm when he jumped down. That's a hero landing.
That's the hero landing. And then for them, when they jump out of the bus later, he says, oh, I messed that up. I'm waiting for this. He's jumping next to Logan for something. I remember him saying that we messed that up.
Yeah, that was later. But this one, they fall from the sky onto the Kia they were trying to sell the family at the beginning.
Which was hilarious.
And he goes, oh, that feels like a Kia.
Right. So this is kind of like where people are talking about, we get the second, third act because they're back in the timeline they're supposed to be. He's got a Wolverine. They're trying to get back. Is it in London? Is that where it is? I don't know if it was in Britain or London or somewhere. It wasn't New York. Like the real time, like the city they were in at the end, like wherever the TVA
is. San Francisco.
Oh, was it? I didn't even realize it was in America. I didn't notice.
TVA is not in America. It's not in the world. It's outside.
Well, I don't know if they had a branch office that had a waiting room.
There's no branch office.
No, they said it was a branch office. We're going upstairs to the main. Whatever. They get back to the real. Dude, I hate the TVA, man. I don't know if you noticed that. They get back to the real world, right? But unfortunately, they're followed. Dude, I'm not thinking fourth dimensionally on this one, right? An army of Deadpools basically follows them back.
Because Cassandra follows them back. Because she finds out that Pyro was going to turn on her, and she was happy where she was until he crossed the fence. And though she brings the group of Deadpools back with her to make sure that no one gets in her way.
Right, because she's going to go take over the Time Ripper and do Time God stuff. Which again,
destroy all the timelines and just have the void.
Right, which is this is one of the problems with Marvel movies. Everything has multiverse consequences, which is another reason I hate the multiverse now. Like, it's just too big of an idea, right? So Jackman and Wolverine set up for the big throw, and this is like the last big physical thing in the movie. They do some other shit later to save the day, but So the last fight is them slow-mo walking into a road to fight all whatever conceivable Deadpool archetype, sub character, legacy character, variant, I guess. They have them all. Lady Deadpool, banging hot, by the way, and voiced by his
who it
wife,
is, right? Yeah,
not
it's
his
Blake
wife.
Lively.
She voices it, but it's a stunt double in the suit. I looked it up and double checked. It's just her voice. It is another actress in the suit.
You know who plays Cowboy Deadpool?
Oh no, I didn't catch anybody else who played who.
Matthew McConaughey.
Oh, get out of here. Okay, all right. See, again, variant. I don't mind, right? So, but there's like 100 of them, right? They got floating head pool, funny.
Yeah.
You had baby pool at the back at the end
Yeah,
for a
baby
joke.
pool, which is actually his
samurais.
kid.
Yep. There's loads of variants. It's Samurai Deadpool. I think Zombie Deadpool.
No, I mean it's really Ryan Reynolds' kid.
Oh no, I didn't know that. I didn't know.
Yeah, that's actually Ryan and Blake's kid.
Oh no, shit.
Played baby pool.
Oh, welcome to the family. Right. They set up a badass action scene. We got more of our pretty boy Deadpool being used as a human shield and getting shot to shit, which is hilarious. But when they're walking out,
regenerating powers.
It's like, oh no! Right?
Like,
when they were walking out through the slow-mo, when they were doing the slow-mo walk, did you see the sign above them on the storefront?
It was that
Liefeld's feet only. It was the original artist of Deadpool, who's always been considered to being not able to draw feet. So the store top, like the marquee above the store, was Liefeld's only feet. It was just fun. Like, again, it's one of those deep cut jokes that if you weren't looking or didn't know, you were going to miss the inside baseball. It was hilarious. Dude, people were cracking up.
So the part you were talking about, the joke was like he fell out of the window and he didn't stick the landing. He's like, I waited for the team up for so long and I didn't make the landing.
Yeah, dude, it was good. The fight scene is
the truest moment in there. It was like, I've been waiting to do this movie for so long.
that moment near the end was some heartfelt shit. Definitely. Because that was Ryan Reynolds talking to Hugh Jackman 100%. Like, I've waited a long time to do this. Thanks for coming out. Like, come on. Like, dude, that's you thanking your buddy, you know? But the fight scene leading into that is one of those continuous long, it's called like a one shot, where you're looking at the camera and they're fighting left to right. And they're basically pushing back a crowd of Deadpools in all kinds of gross ways. And then the crowd pushes them back out of frame to the left. And then all of a sudden body parts just come flying back into frame. And you're like, oh shit. Dude, they roughed them all up through a bus, which was ridiculous because you're still on the outside looking into the bus from the side. Right. And then they do the fall out of the window shit. And Reynolds makes the joke, which was too funny. Too funny. All the fights were good. Too much going on.
Yeah, then they all regenerate. It was apparently they all regenerate other than Nice Pool. And then
says, oh, really?
And then it was one guy comes running up in a Deadpool suit and he's like, no, he's with me. And then all of them just like he rips off, it's Peter. Oh, we all got Peter. And all of the other Deadpools like, it's Peter. And they all go around like, we all have a Peter in our universe.
Dude, it's the biggest Deus Ex movie and biggest Deus Ex move in movie history, and it was hilarious.
Yeah,
I thought it totally worked. The fact that this dude's nutsack is being hugged in the spandex pants is too funny. And again, parents, don't bring your kids. It's hard not to see it because they frame it so you can see it. Like it's the gag, it's the joke. It's exactly what they wanted. And so, you know, Deadpool and Wolverine, they make their exit while everybody else is congratulating Peter. I think Deadpool even says, "Enjoy my Peter," which is kind of funny. I'm like, dude, that's funny. All right, we're coming up on the end of this piece. They get to the TVA, not base, because you know it's outside of time and space, yada yada, whatever. And Cassandra Nova's already there. She's doing typical bad guy shit. She's absorbing all its power, yada, yada, yada. Nobody cares. Paradox tells them, you got to get down there and short this thing out. It probably takes the power of an anchor being to shut it down. I think
you have to shut it down.
What was the thing?
He didn't say an anchor being. He said that you need to pull it and anchor them together.
Oh, he just told
matter,
them how to
antimatter. Right. Yeah. And when matter and antimatter touch, it comes a bomb. I mean, if you watch any movie like Angels and Demons, that's how antimatter touches matter and it explodes it.
Boom, with something like 20,000 times the force of like fusion. So yeah, it's a big deal, right? So they get down there. This is where all the moment happens where he's like, you know, the Wolverine thanks him. He thanks him for coming out. and Wolverine's about to go through the door and go do Wolverine pimp shit. And then, of course, Deadpool gets him with the Armageddon move, cracks him with the fire extinguisher, and then slings him back around and slams the door behind him so he can't go.
Yeah.
Because
and he does the whole Spock thing.
And then sideways.
That's exactly what I was thinking. It was Kirk and Spock.
Yep. They memed everything in this movie, right? So Deadpool goes in. He's pulling wires. He's pulling one side out of one terminal, but he can't reach the other side. The clock's ticking down. The timeline's being eroded. Wolverine's banging on the door. He's denting it, but it doesn't look like he's getting through and this and that. But of course, right?
Yeah.
Wolverine breaks through.
Last minute ticking time bomb. You have the
they're down
countdown,
to like 7%, 3% in reality. Nothing left.
All the timelines are gone, and then
he grabs Deadpool's hand. Yep, he grabs Deadpool's hand. He completes the circuit to the other thing. They go slow-mo. Wolverine's shirt explodes for reasons, just so you can see
off his abs.
Yoked out of his mind.
They made that joke a few times of him being like the shirtless guy who runs around,
and he still has a mask, which is the best part.
Yeah,
is that they made a big joke out of that too, where like they're suiting up to fight all the Deadpools, and Wolverine outside finally reaches up and he pulls the thing over, and Ryan Reynolds is like, "You really did save the good stuff for the end, didn't you?" And dude, I don't know, dude, what did you think of the mask? Was it too silly for live action, or did it work?
No, I think it worked. I think it made him look really fierce.
Me too. I liked it. I thought it was going to be cheese central, but dude, Hugh Jackman gets in that low claws out stance. I'm like, okay, he's fucking Wolverine. What do you want me to do?
Yeah,
he's got a mask.
And for a 55-year-old, he is cut.
Yeah, dude, sliced up.
But when I had that type of money and, to afford personal trainers and someone to motivate me to do it.
He's still putting the work in, and there's no getting around that.
Yeah.
And I mean, still a lot of work done.
If you watch him like do his musicals and everything like that, which they joked on a lot, like when they're fighting the Odyssey and he hits his head and it's the Greatest Showman soundtrack, and then he hits his head and goes away.
And that's what I mean. They did so many, like, dude, there's 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. They went like 12 degrees with some of these jokes, but I feel like they all landed because they were all popular enough references, even if they were the deepest of cuts, that people would still get a laugh out of it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I feel like it all worked. So just to wrap up the movie, they complete the circuit. They defeat Cassandra Nova. It looks like they both die because there's the Flash. They're evaporated or whatnot. Right?
Yeah, they said that it should have atomized them.
Atomized them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then so we're back on the ground floor. The TVA shows up to arrest Paradox, basically, and whoever the I don't remember what the head chick was. I think that was the same woman from Loki series, right? Wasn't that her?
Yeah, she was one of the tops.
She's the director or whatever.
And now she's one of the directors, her and Morpheus.
Right. So that's right. So they show up, and then of course they cue the Madonna music again, and Deadpool comes around the corner and goes, "He has risen." Like, this is too funny. People were rolling. They come slow-mo strutting out, and I'm like, you remember when every superhero movie, even if it wasn't this cheesy, was this good? Like, did everything just kind of worked? Iron Man worked. You know what I mean? Captain America worked.
The whole Iron Man, when he shoots the missile and then he walks away and the tank blows up.
Dude, I like that, but I'm also partial to Iron Man flying and the F-22 is dropping behind him. Then he rolls out and they got to chase him. I love that. I love that from the trailer. But dude, the rocket, after he dodges the tank shells, too.
Yeah.
Awesome. Right? So they arrest Paradox. He works out some stuff with the TVA lady. He's like, I'd like this, this, and this. She's like, I'll see what I can do. And everything's all hunky-dory, yada, yada. We go back to Deadpool's, 10-0015, like his timeline. Like
that's where they were.
I mean, they left the void, and they were. Oh, that's right, they were there because that's where the Time Ripper was. Dude, I hate the void. I hate the TVA. I've said this enough. All right. And Deadpool basically
you only hate what you don't understand.
Dude, I hate plenty of shit I do understand too. Make no mistake. He's back. They're having the end of his birthday party, I guess, or just another get together. Like everybody from X-Force from their movie from Deadpool 2 is there. Vanessa's there. I needed more Vanessa. Dude, she's too good looking. So she's one of my favorites. I love her in Firefly. We'll be talking about that.
And
tomorrow,
she's a superhero as well. She's Copycat. Where? In the comic books.
his girlfriend. I thought you meant the actress. I'm like,
Yeah.
who did she play? Oh, true. Okay, cool. Did not know that. And he has the voiceover. He's well, it all depends on who's around you, and hey, you got to do what you can do, yada yada, all that good stuff. But Wolverine's basically shown himself to the door or during the beginning of the party. He's gonna bounce or whatever, and Deadpool goes out to get him. Basically brings him back in, and he's sitting there at the table. He's talking to folks. He's petting the dog and all that cute shit. So everybody's found their place. Yada yada. End credits. All the funny stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they had the call back to the Avengers shawarma moment.
Yeah, they did. They did the shawarma joke again. Didn't have to have it, but it worked. And we've talked about this movie for an hour. We didn't talk about at least 50 jokes that were in this movie, at least.
There's probably a lot we missed. So exactly. It just goes to show how much we did enjoy this. So for the review part of it, no, like I said, it's not Shakespeare. It's not Shawshank Redemption, but it's definitely worth the watch. It doesn't reset the MCU like a lot of people hoped it would, but it does bring hope that quality can come back to the MCU. Like you don't have to have all the jokes. You don't have to have all the stupid Marvel humor. Deadpool humor works because it's Deadpool. But yeah. So yes, I enjoyed Cameo the movie.
Give me a number for Cameo the movie though. I'm really curious on this.
8 out of 10.
Interesting.
It's exactly what you want from a summer blockbuster movie. 2 hours, enjoy yourself. Don't have to worry about knowing deeper plots and anything like that. It wasn't being preached to. It was just fun enjoyment. So
I think I'm really close to that as well. I agree with your assessment there. This doesn't save the MCU because the MCU is now 2 full phases of almost near total garbage on both big screen and small screen deep. This is an island or an oasis in the middle of all that suck, and we need those because we needed No Way Home. We needed Guardians 3. But we need 4 or 5 mainline 616 movies in a row. Maybe not 4 or 5, maybe like 2 or 3. Right before I go, oh, the MCU is back. This isn't the MCU anyway.
Honestly, I'm telling you, I got high hopes going forward with the limited amount of stuff that they're doing now. Like it's like 2 movies per phase now instead of 3 or 4.
That's a great plan. But it's important to remember that the next two or three things coming out are extensions of what came before when everything's broken. So I mean, Thunderbolts and Captain Falcon. I don't care how many times they rewrite those. There's zero chance either of them are any good. I don't believe.
Actually, I'm really excited for the new Captain America after I've seen even more about it. I'm actually really excited for it. So
we can talk about that. We can talk about that tomorrow. I'm going to give this an 8.5. I think that's fair. I think that there's enough humor and violence and fighting here to make it work. I think the pacing is pretty good because it is funny on like a regular cadence, so I'm not bored. But it's definitely I take points off from anything at this point that's multiverse and variant because it does allow for a certain degree of I've seen this before. It's an easy way out of anything to eliminate stakes that matter in a lot of ways. It might be a bias, but I think an 8.5 is a fair place for me to land this because it's definitely not upper echelon with No Way Home or Captain America Winter Soldier, The Dark Knight. Like those are here. Deadpool's 1 notch down. This movie 8.5. It's definitely a summer blockbuster. It's gonna make its $1.5 billion, and I hope Disney. And I have a video coming out about this later in the week. I hope Disney doesn't take the wrong message from the 1.5 bill that they're gonna get. Like this movie exceeded in a weekend the entire run of the Marvels.
No, in a weekend. What this movie did in a weekend has outperformed 9 of the top 10 movies in the box office right now. The only one that like in one weekend surpassed them for all their weeks out, other than one movie, and that was Inside Out 2.
Yep, that's what I'm saying. Like that, this is a force for them, but I'm fearful that they take the wrong message out of that and then end up not making any other kind of positive changes.
Sure. And remember that this franchise, the Deadpool franchise, has already made $1.5 billion between the 2 movies, 7.84 and 7.83 respectively. And now this one should make right around the same, if not more, or even double what it's already made.
It's on an easy clip for $1.5 billion. It'd be wild to. And again, and somebody else pointed this out all over YouTube. There's not a whole lot of competition coming in terms of like older, like teen to like adult age, like kind of fiction. I don't think they see a drop. Like some people think that Alien Romulus August 15th is going to chew into this. I'm like, dude, everybody will have seen Deadpool 7 times by the time that movie comes out. And that's not a perfect
Yeah.
crossover Venn diagram
You
anyway.
you
You
can
know?
say what you want about Disney, their marketing campaign and like the way they plan their movies out on release dates is top notch because they know that
Yeah.
they have no competition for the next
Yeah,
two,
they
3
dodge
weeks. So
trouble.
they have, yeah, they have that solo shot of being the
For
top
sure.
movie to maximize profit.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Dude,
the
I don't,
movie's budget was 200 million and this has already doubled that. So it's already covered its marketing
yep.
budget as well.
This is all
So
gravy.
it's
This
pure
is all
profit
gravy
now.
from here. Yep. All gravy from here. But that does it for me on Deadpool Wolverine. We've advised everybody to go see it. We appreciate folks having checked out the long form video. King Z would tell you to let us know in the comments below your favorite cameo, joke, whatever. I think we're good for spoilers now because it has been a weekend. I think if you were going to get out to see it and avoid coverage on social media, you probably already did that. So let us know what you guys thought below. That's all I'll say because I know I ramble. I'm going to let King Z walk us out and say goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody.